Welcome back to the special edition of GST Centimeter. What we are discussing is a very interesting Deloitte survey on how India Inc. is responding to GST, and we find a massive 72% saying that their experience with GST has been positive. I've been speaking with Mahesh Jaisingh of Deloitte, Mr. Nagendra Kumar, who is a former member of the GST and CBIC, and the Goa Minister, Movin Godino, who is a veteran in the GST Council itself. Okay, Mr. Godino, one of the things about GST has been the vast amount of data it has thrown up, and the central government, almost all experts tell us, have done a very good job of data mining and their ability, therefore, to, first of all, tax those who have been evading, but more importantly, getting other, regional important data about the Indian economy. The states have lagged behind in data mining. Will this be a priority for Goa and for other states?
I think it should be the topmost priority today in the world. First of all, gathering good data is of utmost importance, and then using the data by the various agencies in real time for the real time good of the economy in this particular case is very, very important. And I think we have done reasonably well in that direction, I must say, because so many frauds have been detected. We know exactly where are the leakages, and a little bit more use of artificial intelligence also is going to help. And we are going to do that very shortly,
Okay.
wherein we will be able to really get good data which can be used by the various agencies connected in financial
Yes.
jargons to see that these type of leakages are not there. And it's precisely because we have done this reasonably well that you find that the figures are every time increases
Yep.
as far as the collection in GST is concerned.
That's a fair point, sir. In fact, now GSTN has been allowed to be integrated even into the credit system, and we are hoping that account aggregators will be able to use GST to get the credit worthiness of MSMEs, so more people will be able to avail of credit from the banking system. One hopes that level of data mining is going to come up fast. Mahesh, what do you think should be the key improvements that the system needs? I mean, the survey, of course, lists quite a few. One of the big asks is that GST on capital goods used for exports should be excused, obviously, because that will make our exports more competitive. But do you think such giveaways can be expected? What would be your priority list?
Well, I'm fortunate to have Mr. Godino in this meeting, so he could also, as an active participant, work on some of the suggestions and consider them.
Please.
So from the 3 points that came out in the survey to me were dual audits and investigations. I think given that we are in the 6th year and the tax authorities have to do the audit, so nobody's saying why. It's part of the statute and it's being done. But perhaps in this year, when at a state level, I may be audited by the central authorities as well as state. I think the respondents are hoping for more clarity on a standard operating procedure so that multiplicity of audits are reduced. Also, for companies having multiple state operations, one clarification in one state or a position could be replicated rather than the position being tested. So that's point one. Point two is there's been an acknowledgement that the GST Council has been very active on engaging and understanding issues and issuing clarifications. So there's an expectation that that only continues, and there's a little bit more focus on implementation. And the third point that you talk about exports, there is a resounding, number of folks who actually believe that this export rules needs to be relooked at, because there are some pockets of where there are exceptions to the norm on export, and therefore there are some demands that may come on what industry believes as exports. And linked to that is the point that you said that can the capital good refund be allowed on an export of goods or services? There is a way in the law that it is there, but it's by two options. I think industry is hoping that it's in a plain vanilla option as well, that if I pay 10 crore rupees with 1 crore 80 lakh on the input on the capital good, I should be allowed to claim that refund. I do think with the resounding success and the rates and the collections hitting so high, time is right for some of these suggestions to be acted upon.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, at least from an export standpoint, though at the moment services exports are doing so well that nobody is feeling the pinch. If we were a fragile five, they would have felt the pinch. At the moment, I don't think that's something the government will feel. But the government is definitely very actively looking at the GOM report on, a GST on casino and gaming. Mr. Godino, this is something that will be very central to Goa. What should we expect in the next? Should we expect a decision in the next council meeting itself, the July 11th meeting?
Of course, this is very central to Goa because casinos are there only in Goa and maybe a few in some other state like Sikkim. So it is very central to us. And I have been a member of the GOM, which was first constituted, and then we did submit a report. Then certain other points came to the fore. Thereafter, again, a second report also was submitted. Now, thereafter, various other changes have taken place as far as TDS and the whole taxation issue is concerned as regards not only the casinos but horse racing, then online games and all that. I think we need to have a relook because we ultimately have to adopt the international practices that are there prevalent in the world, whether it is the casinos, whether it is horse racing, or whether it is online gaming. We cannot punish industry which is nascent but growing fast just because we were not in the know of certain things, how the industry works. So we need to take a very careful view. These particular things are certainly going to come up in the next GST Council meeting on 11th when it takes place.
Yes.
And I'm sure all these points will be there on the table for us to arrive at a decision which will not kill the industry. It will help to the industry to go and the revenues of the government to grow. That should be the essence of the whole thing.
No, that kind of a practical approach is called for. But remember, we are a country where even in the gift city there is prohibition, sir. So we are a very different kind of country. Okay, Mr. Nagendra Kumar, to come back to the survey itself. What, according to you, are the priority implementations or improvements that the government should consider?
In fact, the survey has clearly pointed out a couple of issues which are being upon as impediments in enhancing the effectiveness of implementation of GST. One is with regard to, basically, I think with regard to the related party transactions, the charge. I think probably the clarity in the law would provide a lot of comfort to the industry in taking a particular way of accounting their inter-branch transfers. This is one issue that has come up. The other issue is basically the industry has also been talking about the working capital constraints, the blockage of credits. Prior to GST, I think perhaps the VAT laws provided for refunding of the input tax credit accumulated at the end of the financial year when annual returns are filed and if some audit or any of those assessment proceedings are concluded. In GST, the refund of accumulated ITC is restricted to only in respect of exports, which are zero rated, or where tax is inverted structure. Okay. Barring these two situations, the refund of the accumulated ITC is not there. So the industry's ask is to look at how best the blocking of ITC can be eased to make the working capital requirements of the industry. This is one big ask. The third important thing which has come up in the survey is with regard to the issues relating to some of the interpretational issues. Perhaps I think as GST settles down and more compliance activities in the form of scrutiny and audit starts, I think there could be a certain amount of issues which will come up, which the industry is looking for a quick resolution at both operational and policy level. Going by the past precedent in the 49 GST Council meetings so far held, the GST Council has been rather proactive in addressing some of those concerns and industry-related issues. And I'm sure in the coming days, I think the GST Council will continue to play the proactive role in issuing clarifications, guidelines, and circulars and make the process easier.
Okay, we will look forward to that. The first meeting is, of course, July 11th, but maybe in subsequent meetings, these discrepancies will be ironed out. A very quick rapid fire from all of you. We've gone from what, 50,000 per month to 1.5 lakh crore. I want only one number from each of you. Please don't make it a long answer. Mahesh, what do you think it will be 1 year down the line? What's the peak number?
I think 170-ish.
Oh,
because
that's conservative. No, only one number. Mr. Nagendra Kumar?
I think I will look at 1.8 lakh crore, being ambitious for the reason that a lot of structural corrections and the efficiency in tax compliance is bound to take us somewhere to...
Okay, sir, got it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make it rapid fire. Mr. Godino?
I would say I would look at 190
Okay.
and even touching 2 lakh crore. And why not? If we continue the phenomenal growth and the fastest, calling ourselves the fastest growing economy, if we really grow fast, why will we not grow in figures as far as the GST collection is concerned?
I hope you finance ministers, both at the center and in the states, will remember that this is a regressive tax, sir. And you must have an eye that direct tax should earn the country more than indirect tax. If this succeeds so well, as you say, 2 lakh crore, and I wouldn't be surprised with that number at all. I think that's a fair guess. But I would hope that all of you, it'll simply make for inertia. When this one is doing so well, why chase direct tax? I hope that doesn't. I hope a day comes when you reduce the rates on GST.
But Lataji, if we reach that figure, it would also make out a case for true rationalization
Yes,
of the whole
I agree with you.
taxation
I agree with you.
process, which will help everybody in the long run.
I do hope.
And,
I do hope
really
that
build
is. I take your point entirely, sir. If I don't think you need to wait for 2 lakh crore. It's already succeeded so well that rate rationalization should be one of the priorities that the government should undertake in the interest of equity, in the interest that you can't have 51-49 in favor of indirect taxes or even 50-50. OECD countries have 33-66. Direct taxes take 66. So we should be working towards some level of equity. That's just a request from the media. Thank you very much, Mr. Godino, Mahesh Jaisingh and Nagendra Kumar for joining us in this special discussion on GST 6 years and the way ahead.